Hey everybody, it's Lebo with Lebo's Pinball. Back on Getaway. We're making a little more progress. I've got a little more of the stuff put down. I've got some of the plastics put in place. I've got the up-down ramp now put in place. I've got the new flap put in. I've got that all nice and installed. Here is the stoplight. I mentioned before how I've painted the inside black so that the light doesn't bleed through the body of the whole traffic light, so that helps a little bit with it. I would have already put this plastic on here, but one thing that I noticed that needs to be addressed is this little gate. If you notice, it's cracked. Big chunk of this metal is missing, and that is all rusty. That's no good. So we're going to replace that. Should be pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Another thing that I'll mention, all these little these stand-up targets all throughout the game, put new little cushions behind it. That's in a number of areas. You know, it's little stuff. It takes a little bit of time, not a big deal, but you got to peel it off, clean everything, get the new one installed. Another little trick that I've seen done, and I did it to my game. I've got a Getaway, kind of like this one. These gauges, I've got a light that I've put underneath them. The lights that I'm using, if you've ever used any of the the lights that Comet has, gosh, let's see if I can get underneath here so you can see it. See, it's well, it's kind of hard to see, but it's a circular light that they put underneath their posts. They're called post lights. To me, that's just the right amount of light, and this is a cool white or natural white that I've used. I think these are sunlight bulbs down at the bottom, and you know, of course, I've got some of these green lights that I've put in a few places, but you know, I've used kind of a sunlight in a lot of places, except for some spots where I've put a natural light underneath these signs. There's another one over here. That's one that I've added. But anyways, that was one thing that I added there. I've got another, you know, the whole stack of plastics that'll go here. I've added a light underneath one of the signs there as well. Just wanted to show you, so I mentioned this is one thing that I'm going to add or fix, take care of that. Another thing I'll go ahead and point out here. So I've got the supercharger here upside down, just looking at the bottom of it. And this whole mechanism here, this is what controls the gate, the little diverter gate. And I was just going to go swap out the sleeve on it because it was moving kind of sluggish. And as I try to get that sleeve out, it is stuck in there. And when it's stuck in there real tight like that, that's a pretty good indication that the coil has heated up at one point. And it does look a little bit browned. So I went ahead and ordered a new coil. So we'll be throwing a new one of those in. And the other thing, and this is kind of unfortunate, but had to do it. You'll see I've got two shifters here. Here is the original one. It's made by Hap Controls. Hey, look, there's their phone number. I should give them a call, see if they can help me out. I don't think they will. So see that little black area that's kind of like it's not a bushing. I guess it kind of is. It's just really a pivot. It's a pivot on that side. It's part of this whole block assembly. The way this shifter works, when you move it up and down, it's kind of hard to do with one hand here. But this side here, see how that's it's pushing that little plunger down? That's like a spring-loaded plunger. So that's how it kind of keeps itself centered in the middle. And as you move it up and down, let me flip this thing over, you'll see these switches that are on the back, and you know, just a little, you know, the switches just get activated by that whole shaft there. Well, take a look right here. That is not good. That's not really, it's not easily repairable. It's not that there's a part available that you can swap out, like that whole base assembly. That would be one way to do it. Another way to do it, I imagine, I have not, obviously not attempted it, but if I were to take this all apart and, you know, drill all this out, maybe that would work. I kind of think that it won't, because you got this shaft going through the middle of it all. But there might be a way to put, you know, maybe another shaft through the middle here, and maybe even just an actual, you know, bearing, a ball bearing or something. To me, that looked like that was just going to be a mess, and I really don't know of anybody who's done a solution for that. So, except for just having to buy a whole new one, which is what I had to do. But here's a brand new one from Marco, and this one, I mean, this is nice. It is quite solid. So, yeah, I hate to have to go buy a whole brand new one, but it is solid. I'm impressed with what they made. Even the handle is nice texture here. It does spin around. I don't know why that does that. This one, see how this is all, I don't know if it was textured at one point and just over the years it's just been buffed out from use. But this is solid. It doesn't really twist. But anyways, that's going in, and I'll just show you here what I got to do. I got to swap out this little harness over here to this one, and then it'll be basically ready to go in. There's also a diode on each switch. I'll probably just put in a new diode on each side. You got to get the orientation right. So we got to watch for the little stripe. Put it on the right side of the switch, the correct side of the switch, and then wire it all up. But I've got a nice model here, and oh, by the way that this goes into the game, see, this plate could spin around and throw you off, but that is the right orientation. So looking at the game, the switches are here to the left. So if I were to walk back over here to the cabinet, it would be going right in like that. So anyways, I'm gonna swap this out, and we'll have that back and installed. So here we're gonna start fresh with some diodes on the switches. And these are going to use the 1N4004. It's a really common diode that's used a lot. I think there's also if I remember correctly, a 1N4001, 2, 3, and 4. And this one's the one that's like the highest voltage rating. And a lot of times they've used some of the lower voltage ones because they could. They didn't need to go any higher, and it probably saved a penny here and there. But since we're doing repair and not so much a focus on pennies and more for robustness, I'm trying to go with a more robust diode. And this is basically what a lot of people will use. So I'm going to go ahead and peel off a couple of these, and we're going to get it installed into the new switches right here. So I got the first diode already put in place. You see I got the stripe up here at the top because the other one, I don't know if you can see it here. Let's see if I can get the focus. So you got the stripe up at the top. You just gotta get it in the right same orientation, like what you're doing here on the new part. And the way that I got this one all soldered in, not that this really matters, but any kind of crazy detail, but just go ahead and kind of bend all the little legs, kind of in the right place so that you can just drop this in, just kind of like this. Try to do it kind of a neat job so it's not, I don't know, like things kind of bent square. I guess it's an OCD thing or whatever. But now what I'll do is I'll just bend these legs up a little. Kind of hard to do, not moving things around too much. But get this other side up a little too. All right, so much for my OCD. All right, so then now we'll just get that soldered in place, and then the next thing we'll do is we'll transfer the wires, the whole little connector and everything that was on the old one, all throughout here, and then this will be ready to go in. All right, so we got the little short harness here installed. I went ahead and just put in a new wire that actually goes from that center terminal and that switch to that one. Instead of transferring this wire over, it was, nothing special. It was just a wire. I didn't need to undo that one just to save it to go put it here. I just grabbed a fresh wire. Of course, it's big and thick. I mean, as far as insulation, it looks huge. Anyways, unsoldered the other wires here and just transferred it over. It's ready to go install in the game. And there we have it. It's installed, and I've got the game actually in the test mode here. I've got it in the switch edges mode. So now if I hold the handle up, move it high, you heard it beep, just went gear shift high, I let go of it. It goes back to unswitch, it'll go up high again. There it is. Now let's go low. We'll push the shifter down, and there it is, gear shifter low. Let go, and now it's cleared. Looks like we are in good shape and ready to move on to the next project. But that's it for now for the video. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time, and we'll take it the next step. Thanks again.